Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Wynne's World of Numerology. And numerology is a language that I believe your soul already knows. And when studied carefully, can lead you to soulganizing your life rather than organizing your life around that pesky little ego. I hope to be a self growth facilitator for you today. And if you're suffering in any way, I hope to help you reorganize the way that you're feeling and experiencing your life. Today, we're going to deep dive into the eighth number symbol in numerology, which is, of course, eight. You most likely haven't studied the number eight quite this way before, even if you're familiar with numerology. So let's get started. In previous episodes, we have talked about the definition of the pure forms of the energy symbols 1 through 7 and how our current states of consciousness can bring about the highest potential or its lowest potential for expressing. The number one, just for a recap, is to start again, start a new beginning, make a masculine type of impact on the world. And the number two is the sort of feminine partner to that one to support the masculine's one initiative. The number three is 1 plus 2 is 3, and the masculine and the feminine come together to make a baby. And babies are usually very curious, and their childlike energy is infectious. Then we get to the number four, which is a little more serious and wants to organize that scattered childlike energy into digestible, usable, ordered buckets for just human use. And then after all that restriction and seriousness, the five arrives in order to basically break free of that four restriction and seek new adventures and change. And after all that fun, the six arrives, and now we're ready for some additional responsibility for our fellow man and kind of see what we can do to help others. It's the first sort of mothering, nurturing energy that we experience. And then we get to the number seven. And on the seventh day, God rested, the seven colors of the rainbow and 7 days of the week and so forth kind of brings about our first attempt to understand life as a sacred endeavor with lots of mystery and that we can reflect on it quietly for greater understanding. And now we get to the eight today, which, as you're going to see, the symbol eight goes both ways. And as you will see when we draw it, it's going to help you understand a little bit more about how an eight might be obsessed with material gains or obsessed with creating powerful situations for others as a true leader in the world. All right, so let's dive in. And as always, what we do first is we draw the solar cross with the four quadrants, and then we'll draw the numbers. Here's a solar cross. Here's the four quadrants. We have a spirit. And if we go clockwise, we have a spirit that incarnates into a body that creates an emotional experience of life. And then we have finally the mental idea of thinking that we are taught to do. And normally I go around and talk about each one of the quadrants, but as you'll see, the way we draw number eight, we're going to do a little cross section work today. So the number eight is going to start here, come down, go around, and come back up. So it's completely enveloping the spirit and the emotional body. We can also draw the other way. Like I said, it goes both ways. So it can start with the mental idea, come down into the body, and then go back up. So a truly balanced eight is going to have complete and total cool access to all four of the quadrants, but usually they're either on one side or the other. So let's start with spirituality. Okay. So spirituality again is as above, so below. The eight, if you've ever seen the eight, it's going up and bringing down. It's going up and bringing down. It's got that as above, so below feel to it. And what it's doing is it's going up into the non-measurable spiritual realm, for lack of a better word, and it's coming down into the emotional body. And the cool thing about that is that the spirit will automatically evoke a feeling of joy or bliss. If any of you follow Sadhguru, he talks about just being in a state of bliss all of the time. And so he by himself and other gurus can sit in mountaintops forever and not interact with anyone because they are so connected to the emotional experience of the spirit. And that's actually pretty cool when you think about it. Because again, emotions aren't measurable, they're in our own experience. And then as we connect to these higher emotions, we start to understand that everything is happening for a reason. And today I finally have inner access to know why. I can't explain it, but I can feel it. And then when we get sort of lost in that, some people might call that, spiritual bypassing, where you're literally just meditating to feel that bliss out experience, not really interacting with the world because it just feels so good, right? But that's a real talent, something that we want every eight, or when you're in the eight energy, to master. All right, so let's talk about the other way that the eight will infect us, which is completely the mental activity of our brains coming down into the body. All right, so mentally, an eight might say, like, what do we already know as humans? How can I bring the best of what we already know and make it better and bring it to the market? So, eights are all about the material world, bringing wealth and personal gain or powerful situations for others as a leader. So, basically, an eight mentally is going to say, okay, how can I bring the best to the market? How can I communicate to others that I have this wonderful worth inside of my brain and they need it? I should be a leader and I can maximize other people's benefits or the benefits of the company in whatever industry it chooses. Because again, it's very comfortable with personal gain because it's connected to the body, and the body is always looking for personal gain, right? It's saying, I have the ability to make this power and put it into the physical realm, right? So now it's going this way, and I can look very comfortable, very confident, and I can kind of, eights usually look very unstoppable because they just have a deeper understanding. Like, it's just a mental game, right? People call it the law of attraction or whatever, but they're like, it's a mental game. I can figure this out. I can easily bring it down to here and create material wealth for myself or for the company or whoever I'm working for. So again, either way is great. The eight is doing what it's meant to do, and we want to champion that. Next year, we usually talk about that there is karma in the world, and the eight, when calculated in numerology, does not have karma. So we're just going to move right into what we do, what everyone has, whether you have karma or not. We have an ego, and you can imagine an eight can have the biggest ego in the room, right? So if you think about the beginning of an eight, right? So you start to go to school, or you go to religious education, and people are like, something's missing, and you got to go out and get it. Well, it's like, all right, I'll go do that. And so it's basically saying, I'm completely tied to the economic worth of what I produce, or how many businesses I start, or how I can create wealth or whatever. And so the problem with that is, an eight, ego may end up preying on others for personal gain, because the eight is thinking, I have to extract things from other people, whether it's their attention or their money, and I maybe don't really care how I'm doing that. I really just want the temporary power. And then once I have temporary power, it's like, oh, I have to keep extracting to get that. Right. So personal power has to be built, it has to be maintained, and then has to be rebuilt over and over again, because personal power is not meant to stay. It's not, it's just really a spiritual experience. Right. But if the eight is going more the mental body route, the ego gets very large. And so the ego of the eight might be saying, I need more expertise. I need more health and wealth. I need the best products to keep me looking young, because beauty offers fame or superiority, or political influence offers that, or any just kind of authority in the world. The eight ego will get completely immersed in. I'm going to spend a lot of time on the ego today. Just so hold on a second, because it's very big in the eight. So again, the ego of the eight is going to compete to be number one in any situation. Like, you might see the eight in a room where it's a social gathering, but they're behaving in a way that they want to look the most intelligent or the most attractive, because it feels really comfortable with itself and knows it has the ability to attract things to it. But sometimes you'll see it be like, there's no winner here, dude. Just, relax. There's no score, but they're scoring themselves. And that's what the eight ego does. It's consistently measuring itself against others, even when the situation is not calling for it. So competitive structures allow for that person to really garner that feeling or that number one spot. And so again, egos are going to try to achieve a goal for itself and not believe that it can achieve it together with others, such as the prize trophy. Like, only I can hold on to this trophy. There's only one, and I'm going to get it. Hey, good news though, no how matter how big our egos are, free will gives us the ability to reverse that upside down relationship that we have with power, seeing that we are not powerful in any sense of the word other than what our creator gives us. And we can tap back into that. So your ego might have spent a lifetime pursuing personal gain, but your soul can turn that into a powerful situation for others. So maybe you were, pursuing personal health for yourself and you were obsessed with it. And then one day it occurs to you, you're like, wait a second, my health doesn't stop and someone else starts in a way that I have to grab from it, but really I can help other people be healthy and it doesn't take away from my health. In fact, it's more fun to share that powerful awareness or whatever you brought from the mental into the physical body, or the spiritual, guru like an Eckhart Tolle who sat on a park bench for 2 years just reveling in his own, emotional bliss. And then he decides, okay, I better write a book and tell other people. It's not going to take away from what I was experiencing for those 2 years. So in the simplest terms, it's going from playing singles in tennis to doubles. You're only winning if your partner is winning and you're championing your partner and you're thinking, yeah, there's no way we're going to do this without each other. And I want my partner to feel as good as I. And this mindset can be developed in any leader, and any leader can make progress for everyone when they get their ego out of the way, right? All right. So thanks for hanging in there. Again, I've spent a lot of time on the ego, but it's really important under the number 8 to really understand how that influences a lot of us in this, especially this country of America, where we're all about capitalism. And if you want to go deeper or learn more about how the 8 might show up in your personal chart, you can always book a session with me to go over your questions or to get a numerology chart reading. And as always, included in a session with me is a free copy of my ebook, Soulganize Your Life. And you can just go to soulganize.com for more information, or below there should be some links in the episode notes. So thanks again for hanging in there today. Next week or next video will be about the number 9, and we'll be completing the number symbols for the first time and then going deeper after that. So thanks again for staying with me. And until the next episode, stay free.